Ooh.
I have the YouTube site up and this is really messing with me today. It is like super behind over here.
Oh, wow, really?
We just now said boo.
Oh,
So, hello everyone. Welcome to Murder Mystery Haunted History. I'm BB3 and this is Nettie from MelNetteLivingFreeZipCodeless. You can find her link in the description below. I am so sorry we took so long. It was my fault. I had an important phone call I was waiting on came through right as we were going live. So, my apologies.
yeah.
Um,
And I want to apologize if I happen to mute myself during our live because my allergies are kicking in. So I don't want to sneeze on live, but hopefully I'll be okay this hour.
All right. Well, we had Miss Nettie in here first, and then we have Hitch Up in Tow. Hello, hello. Thrifty Angela. Hello and welcome. And I think there was another live going on right now, so maybe people kind of drop in after that. But for now, let's get started on the story of Lauren Kavanaugh. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I know.
She's a fighter. She's pretty amazing. So
Yeah. Mm.
we have Celexa Vlog also in here. Hello and welcome.
Mm-hmm.
The horrific abuse of Lauren Kavanaugh, the Texas girl who grew up in a closet.
And this location, which is in like Athens, Texas surroundings, isn't far at all from where we've been staying.
Oh,
It's probably about 40 miles. Yeah, it's not far from us at all.
oh wow. I'll let you start.
Okay. Dubbed the girl in the closet, Lauren Kavanaugh was isolated and abused mentally, physically, and by her mother and her stepfather between the ages of 2 and 8.
On June 11th of 2001, police officers arrived at the home of Kenneth and Barbara Atkinson in Hutchins, Texas. They received a call that Barbara's daughter, 8-year-old Lauren Kavanaugh, was being abused, but nothing could prepare them for what they saw when they walked inside.
They look like POSs.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they look like monsters.
Mm-hmm. The first officer on the scene thought that Kavanaugh was a toddler because she was so small. The young girl was rushed to a hospital in Dallas, where horrified doctors found that she was the size of an average 2-year-old. Officials quickly began investigating how this possibly could have happened, and the truth was far worse than anyone expected. And I've never heard of this case, BB. When I presented it to you,
Mm-hmm.
um, I couldn't believe what I found, so it's just
I
unbelievable.
can't. I think it sounds shocking when you hear she was the size of a 2-year-old. It sounds shocking. But when you really take the time to think about how children grow and
Yeah.
then realize how much she must have been neglected and starved to be that size, just
Yeah.
just that alone is nightmarish to think that a child went through that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you're gonna find out the rest here, everyone, but that to me, I
6
can't.
years she
Yeah.
endured that. Oh.
And I had seen this on Dr. Phil. I'm an avid Dr. Phil watcher,
Yeah.
I must admit.
I used to be, but it's hard now that we're traveling. But yeah, yeah. When you told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't see this case at all.
Yeah. Lauren Kavanaugh was 8 years old and weighed 25.6 pounds. She was rescued in 2001.
Poor
That
thing.
that stomach extension, like expanded like it is right there, the bloatedness of that stomach and the way her ribs are, that's what children in like Ethiopia look like.
Yeah.
Not here in the United States, you don't see children like that.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
That's literally what the children in Ethiopia look like. There's no choice. They don't have food over there. Here we
Yeah.
have food. There's no reason for her to be like that.
Mm-mm. Lauren Kavanaugh had been locked in a closet for 6 years, and the Atkinsons only took her out to SA and torture her. Her organs were shutting down from starvation, and her lower body was red and peeling from sitting in her own urine and feces for months at a time.
I don't know how you ever overcome that either.
Yeah.
Many experts believed she would never lead anything close to a normal life, but Kavanaugh stunned everyone when she graduated from high school in 2013. Though she constantly struggles with the trauma of the unspeakable abuse she suffered at the hands of her own mother and has even faced legal issues of her own, Kavanaugh continues to try to move on from her past as the girl in the closet.
Aw, she's so pretty there.
She is.
Lauren Kavanaugh's birth, adoption, and return to her biological mother. Lauren Kavanaugh was born on April 12, 1993, but her mother, Barbara, had already decided to give her up for adoption. Sabrina Kavanaugh, the woman who hoped to raise Lauren, was in the delivery room, and she later recalled to the Dallas Morning News how excited she and her husband were to welcome the baby into their home.
Thrifty Angela said, "How can someone do this to another human being, especially a child, and your own child to boot? I just don't understand."
Yeah, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around it too.
She's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
That was the happiest day of our lives, Sabrina said. We loved her before she was born, I guess you would say. We had a room for her and her little clothes. It was awesome. Sabrina had been introduced to 21-year-old Barbara several months earlier, soon after she discovered she was pregnant. They met up numerous times leading up to Lauren's birth, discussing the logistics of the adoption. Oh,
Lauren Kavanaugh was born on April 12, 1993. That's such a cute picture.
she's so cute.
Yeah. She was certain she wanted to give it up, Sabrina remembered. She didn't even know who the father was. For the next 8 months, Sabrina and her husband, Bill, raised Lauren like she was their own. But one day, they received a notice that Barbara was filing a petition for custody of the infant. Turned out that the Kavanaugh's lawyer had never filed the paperwork to terminate Barbara's parental rights, and she was determined to, I think it says, get Lauren back.
Yeah, to take Lauren back.
Oh, okay. I don't understand why she wanted her back.
I don't either.
Get that.
She had already given her away. They had a loving home. She just wanted her back to abuse her. Like, what? Lauren Kavanaugh was a happy baby with adopted mother Sabrina until her biological mother, Barbara Atkinson, regained custody of her in 1995. Doris Calhoun, Barbara's mother, told the Dallas Morning News, "Barbie had every right to change her mind. A mother who makes a choice to give up a child has not abandoned that child. It is a loving choice. That's a caring choice. It's a wonderful choice." Excuse me. And she is a great person to have made that choice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, real great. I'm not saying adoption is bad. I get it. But if you've already turned over your child, it's been 3 months. That child has began to love the person that they're with. That's their parent at that point. And if you gave
Yeah.
them up, you gave them up for a reason. Like it's not adoption is not easy. It's not an easy choice. So if you made that choice and you gave them up, you gave them up for a reason. That reason still exists.
And they were the only parents she knew at that time, because they got
Mhm.
her at birth.
Yeah.
So the court soon awarded Barbara and her new husband, Kenneth Atkinson, more and more time with Lauren. For the next year, the Kavanaughs had to slowly give the child they raised as their daughter, even though they believed that Atkinson were abusing her. So they were
Oh,
already, I guess, seeing signs of it or something.
yeah.
Wow.
Somebody messed up here in the like DFS or like the
Yeah.
judge or like somebody messed up really bad here because if there were already signs of it, she had already like this whole thing just does not make sense.
Mm-mm.
At one point, Sabrina Kavanaugh noticed that the area under Lauren's diaper was bright red. I don't think it was diaper rash, she recalled. I think Kenny was already SAing her because she wouldn't let us touch that diaper.
And see, they still were raising her because I guess this is a time that they were just acclimating her to them, to
Yeah.
her real mom. So I don't get how they were able to get her back. It just doesn't make any sense.
I'm sure that they reported this stuff too. They wanted to
Yeah,
keep her, so I'm sure they reported this stuff. And that's where I'm saying somebody messed up majorly bad to ignore these things.
right.
Hey, Tummy Travels.
Sabrina, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Sabrina took Lauren to the hospital, but doctors refused to perform a R kit. Kavanaugh then submitted 45 photos to the judge as evidence, but he told them, "You're doing more harm to this baby with all these pictures than the mother is ever going to do." In 1995, Judge Lynn E. Markham awarded the Atkinson permanent custody of Lauren. For the next 6 years, the little girl would face unimaginable abuse.
Wonder how that judge is doing now.
Yeah,
Wonder if he decided to retire when all this came out.
I would have.
The torturous life of the girl in the closet. After Lauren Kavanaugh was rescued from the Atkinsons' home in 2001, doctors testified that she'd stopped growing around the age of 2, the very same age she was when she was returned to her biological mother. Detective Sergeant David Landers told the Dallas Morning News. It started out with Barbie just putting Lauren next to her on the floor on a pallet. But Lauren would get up and go into the other room and get into stuff. So Barbie started putting her in the closet with a little gate across it.
So the Kavanaugh raised her for 2 years, and then they had to give her up.
That's unreal. And then the fact that this growth stopped right at the same age she was given up is
Yeah.
unreal.
Then, when Lauren got old enough to push it down, Barbara just shut the door. For the first few years, Lauren was still taking to family events with her other 5 siblings. Barbara's mother, Doris, later recalled that Lauren constantly tried to eat anything she could find when she was at her house, and Barbara told her that Lauren had an eating disorder. She was starving.
Yeah.
Wow.
The carpet of the closet that Lauren Kavanaugh was forced to live in for years was so soaked in urine that the police officers' shoes got soaked in it as they were investigating. That is, oh,
That's disgusting, poor thing.
that's so sad. Why get her back just to abuse her?
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't understand.
And it actually started before they got full custody of her
Yeah.
because they were seeing signs of it.
Mhm. But after Thanksgiving 1999, when Lauren was 6 years old, Doris stopped seeing her. Barbara always said she was at a friend's house, and Doris never questioned it. In reality, Lauren Kavanaugh was locked in her mother's closet, surviving on cold soup, crackers, and tubs of butter that her older sister sometimes sneaked into her. On the rare occasions she was allowed to leave the closet, she endured even worse torture than the loneliness she faced inside. I don't understand also like the sibling thing. Like, why was she chosen to be put in the closet? Why were her siblings living normal lives? Like, what? How do you?
It makes me think because like her adopted parents were saying that she didn't know the father of her
Mhm.
child. Maybe something happened to her where she ended up getting pregnant, if she was ARD or something, and just hated her so much because of how she became pregnant. But it doesn't make sense to then why do you want her in your household
Yeah,
if you're
why
going to
get
feel
her
this way?
back? Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
understand getting her back. And also, I don't think the guy that was doing this to her was the father of those other kids either. So, like, why was he? Okay, I don't know how to say this. PG say this. But he was R-ing this little girl, right? Because
Yeah.
it wasn't his biological daughter, so he was
No.
R-ing her. But why wasn't he doing that to the sister? Like, what I'm just trying to understand, like, what crazy in their head made it okay to do it to the one and not and then stop themselves from doing it to the other? Like,
Yeah.
how did someone decipher? I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
They did say that the other ones were abused as well, but
They were,
nothing like her, but I
yeah,
don't know the extent of it.
gotcha.
Yeah. Now, both Kenneth and Barbara Atkinson, S.A., the young girl, starting when she was just a toddler. Lauren's sister, Blake Stroll, remembered hearing the girl's screams from the bedroom and thinking her parents were hitting her when the Atkinsons are Lauren themselves, and they rented her out to pedophiles. That is just that is just unbelievable.
How do these people find these people? Like, how do they find each other? I don't.
Yeah.
Ugh. It's not like you walk around the street saying, "I've got a daughter in my closet that you can use." Like, what in the hell? This is mind blowing.
Mhm.
The first Halloween after her rescue, Lauren screamed when she saw someone dressed as a clown and asked, "Are you taking me to the Candyman's house?" One of the men who regularly r'd her had always worn a clown mask and called himself the Candyman.
Wow. This poor girl. Lauren Kavanaugh faced agonizing physical abuse from her mother and stepfather as well. On the rare occasion that she bathed Lauren, Barbara would hold her head under the running faucet until she couldn't breathe, laughing the whole time. She would also place a bowl of macaroni and cheese in front of the starving child and tell her, "Chew it, but don't swallow."
That's something I do remember from the show, and she talked about that, that I could chew it, but I couldn't swallow it, and that was worse than not even
Eating.
having any
Right.
food.
Yeah.
Though Kenneth and Barbara and 5 other children who faced various forms of abuse, Lauren was the only one who was regularly denied food and locked away. Barbara later told Child Protective Services, I never loved Lauren. I never wanted her. When my other kids hurt, I hurt. When Lauren hurt, I felt nothing. Why did you get her back then?
And then why did you abuse your other kids if apparently it hurt when they hurt? It couldn't have, if they were hurting the other kids as well. After 6 years of constant abuse, Kenneth Atkinson decided to tell someone about Lauren. Whether it was due to a sudden change of heart or a vicious act of revenge after he found out Barbara was cheating on him is unclear. But in June of 2001, Lauren's long life of solitary confinement finally came to an end.
He didn't tell her because he had a good heart. He was involved in all of the nonsense. He just was mad at the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Something is seriously wrong with this mom. I don't even want to call her a mom. I don't believe this is controversial, but like there's something out there now about how they don't want to call moms moms. They want to call them birthing something or all these different titles. They don't want to use the word mom anymore. I think that's ridiculous. However, this woman does not deserve the title mom or mother. She deserves the title of birthing person. That's what she deserves.
Monster.
Yeah.
The emotional rescue of Lauren Kavanaugh.
Look how skinny. Oh.
Look at her arms. Poor
Oh.
thing. On June 11th, 2001, Kenneth Atkinson told his neighbor, Janie Rivers, that he needed to show her something. He took her to the bedroom closet, opened the door, and revealed the secret that he and Barbara had been keeping for over half a decade. I can't imagine being the neighbor and seeing that.
I wonder if he thought, oh, maybe the neighbor likes this stuff too, and I can show her, and then me and her can have a little session to
Oh,
get back at the mom. You know what I mean? I wonder
yeah,
if that was
yeah.
ultimately what he thought was going to happen. But then after he got in trouble too, he's like, no, no, I was trying to do the good thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Rivers later said, what I pictured was a monster, a little bitty monster. She was so frail and without color. Her arms, they appeared to be no bigger than an inch wide to me. She was naked. Rivers and her husband called the police, who rushed to the home. Gary McLean, the first officer on the scene, later said, I walk in and I'm looking for an 8-year-old, except I saw what looked like a 3-year-old sitting there. So I immediately asked, where's Lauren? Gary McLean, Hutchins police officer.
The young girl was covered in cigarette burns and puncture wounds, and she complained about the bugs in her hair. When police asked her how old she was, she replied that she was 2 because that's how many birthday parties I've had.
Oh, goodness. At the hospital, doctors discovered that she weighed just 25.6 pounds. Her esophagus was clogged with plastic carpet fibers and feces, and her genitalias were so mutilated from the years of SA that her vagina and anus were only one opening. She required multiple constructive surgeries to repair the damage.
Isn't that insane, baby? That this story was so hard to do, because of everything she endured. But oh my gosh, I can't believe she went through this much tragedy at such a young age.
Reading her story, it makes you like, I don't know if anybody else thinks this, but like, I can't imagine she wanted to live.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that was normal to her because that's all she knew. And so maybe to her it wasn't that bad because that's all she knew and she thought that's what life was. But once rescued from it, you're facing a life of remembering and dealing with everything that you've been through. And I can't imagine the strength it would take to keep going every day, having been through all of that.
And you know what the police officers were saying when I was still, doing a lot of the research is everything that she endured. She was such a bubbly little girl when they rescued her. She had a smile on her face, probably because she was excited to get out of there, but she just seemed so happy to them at that moment, instead of being so traumatized and not want anybody to touch you, you know what I mean? They
Yeah,
couldn't get over how she was a happy little girl.
that's crazy. Also, if you think about the fact that she only thought she was 2 because she had 2 birthdays, she was taken away
Yeah,
from her family that actually loved her and treated her right at 2.
that too. Yeah.
So that's kind of where her life just stopped at that point, was at 2.
Yeah.
Hey, John, no problem. Welcome in. My God.
I know. Lauren Kavanaugh remained in the hospital for 5 weeks after she was rescued. Yeah, she does not look 8. One doctor said of Lauren, "We've had children who have been beaten. We had children who have been starved. We've had children who've been SA and neglected and psychologically abused, but we've never had a child who had it all."
Yeah, that's because she'd been locked in the closet during her most important developmental years. Lauren's brain had withered, and most experts didn't think she would ever live a normal life. Dr. Barbara Ryla, a Dallas psychologist who treated Lauren soon after her rescue, later said, "If you would have asked me then, I would have told you there was very little future and hope for this youngster. I'd never seen a child who was so very broken physically and emotionally."
Lauren's reunion with the Kavanaughs and her long road to recovery. Now that picture just warms my heart,
I
doesn't
was just thinking
doesn't
that
it?
she looks like she's like, "Come on, let's go. Let's get out of
Yeah,
here."
yeah,
Though, she's a fighter because how did she survive all of this if she wasn't?
yeah.
Very true.
I can't get over that it was 6 years of that.
Yeah,
You know.
that's so sad. I can't believe everything she went through.
Hmm.
Is it mine or yours?
I don't remember.
Mm, I'll go.
Okay.
Uh, but thanks to the work of Bill and Sabrina Kavanaugh, Lauren's original adoptive parents, the girl in the closet soon started to experience life outside of her 4 by 8 foot box. When the Kavanaughs heard what had happened, they quickly reached out to see if they could adopt Lauren again. The first time the 8-year-old saw them, she asked, "Is this my new mom and dad?" Oh, she didn't even remember.
No, she didn't remember. Now, Lauren struggled to adjust to her new life. She wasn't potty trained. She didn't know how to use a fork or a spoon, and she carefully guarded her food because she was afraid someone would take it from her. First time she went outside barefoot, she screamed that bugs were biting her feet because she never felt grass before.
Bill and Sabrina Kavanaugh with Lauren during her recovery.
And they're older parents. Did you notice that? Much
Yeah.
older.
But the Kavanaughs worked closely with Lauren and her therapist, and in July of 2002, 13 months after Lauren was rescued from the Atkinson home, Bill and Sabrina Kavanaugh officially adopted her. Lauren's life has not been easy since then. She struggles with her mental health. She was R'd by her cousin's husband when she was 12. Jeez. And she was arrested in 2018 for SAing a 14-year-old girl herself, according to CBS News.
Now, with that, she was actually in a relationship. Of
Yeah.
course, the 14-year-old was underage. Parents found out, so they brought charges against her. So it wasn't that the 14-year-old at the time denied it, that it was consensual. But
It, it makes me wonder, though, how they were able to charge her, because if they're saying that I get it and I don't get it.
yeah,
Because if they're saying that she wasn't ever going to live a normal life, that her brain stopped growing, et cetera, then you're kind of looking at somebody who's several years younger mentality wise. And
yeah.
given the history, it's not like it's a questionable history and nobody knows if that stuff really happened. Everyone knows it really happened. So it seems to me that there should have been some kind of leniency there for that. But and I can't believe she was R'd again by
I
someone in
know.
family.
I bet the Kavanaughs were just like totally devastated, when they found that out. And then for that just to happen, knowing what she went through. But,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter with these pedophiles. They don't give a crap, and they ended up hurting her when she was 12.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
And she's still going. She's still existing, and
Yeah.
that's huge.
Now, she was found unfit to stand trial, and she was ordered to be committed to a mental health institution. And meanwhile, Kenneth and Barbara Atkinson are both spending life in prison for felony injury to a child, according to People. Through it all, Lauren has tried to learn from her tragic experiences.
I can't imagine life's been easy. I'm sure it has been like
Mhm.
more difficult than anybody can imagine. But the fact that
Mhm.
she's still existing in this world after everything she's been through shows you how, like,
Yeah.
it's inspiring, because life is shitty sometimes. It's just shitty. And this
Mhm.
girl has been through everything and is still existing. So it shows you can pull strength from nowhere, you know?
Yep.
Lauren Kavanaugh with her adoptive mother, Sabrina. I don't want to be like my parents, she told the Dallas Morning News. That's my focus. I have that fear of turning out like them because every day I feel it. I have that rage inside like my mother. The only difference is I'm trying to control it. I don't think it's a rage that her mother had. I think it's a rage that she's trying to contain from everything that was done to her. Had that stuff
Yeah.
not been done to her, she probably wouldn't be struggling with that.
Mhm. It's almost like her real mother was in it for the money, you know, as far as how they were renting her out or income tax or just another body, to benefit from as far as financial gain.
Yeah.
They look different now, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Hmm. And gradually, Lauren learned to live again and even managed to pass. Oh, we managed to pass right through that one. Okay. And managed to pass a high school exam to get into Trinity Valley Community College in Athens, where she now studies psychology. She is also no longer taking any medication for depression or bipolar disorder. She said, I've started studying psychology at college and I plan to go to the university next year.
That's scary that she's not taking any medication for depression or bipolar. Bipolar, you're not supposed to stop taking the medicine. Like, you're on that for the rest of your life. That's one of the major struggles with bipolar, is that people
Hmm.
think that it's okay to stop
Get off of
taking
it.
the medicine because they feel
Yeah.
better. But then there's always a crash down the road. If you stay on the medicine, you don't have that crash. So that's a little bit scary. Studying psychology, she should know that. But
Yeah.
I mean, she's making good choices. She's going to college and stuff now. I've even moved into my own flat. My dream now is to qualify as a counselor. I really want to help victims like me to overcome their abuse and be strong. I've been in their shoes and come out the other side. And that's true. She could probably help so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say about the comment I made about the bipolar and not taking their medicine. I'm not her doctor. I don't know. Maybe her doctor was like, you don't need to be on it. You don't have bipolar. You know what I mean? Like that could be the case too. But I just know with bipolar, a lot of the struggle is the fact that people with bipolar don't take medicine. Lauren
She
with
looks so
friends.
happy.
Yeah, friends from Trinity Valley Community College in Athens.
Mm-hmm.
She's
She's
so
little.
small. She's still small. Yeah. She's
Yeah,
very
she's
small.
little. But she looks just like when they adopted her, that infant picture of her when she was so happy. I can
Mhm.
still see that in her face with her dimple.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that she which I'm not sure if she tried to injure herself, not wanting to be here with everything that she went through. Um, because that was a lot, and a lot of times, like you said, that people give up. They just like they've been through so much mentally and physically, and they just don't want to exist. That she's
Yeah.
coming out on the other side.
And to be a
But
counselor, to turn it around and want to
yeah,
be a counselor and help people that are like her. She's one of the most inspiring stories there is. You know what I mean? So to be able to counsel people that are in a really bad position, that's going to be extremely inspiring to those people. So it's a pretty cool ending, but man,
she
she's been to
endured.
hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she endured
She
a lot. And I'm so thankful for the Kavanaughs wanting her again, because they obviously still loved her, and she had their name because they went through the adoption process but didn't stop the parental rights. So she had their name and everything. So that was such a blessing that they were able to adopt her again. And it did take a little time because of course, the authorities were like, we need to make sure whoever she goes to are good parents, especially with what she went through.
yeah.
So it took them a little bit.
The authorities who messed up originally and put her with the bad people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I wish something could come about with that. You know what I mean? Like the judge saying, oh, yeah, here's 45 pictures of evidence, but I think you're doing more harm than the mother would. And it's like, are you kidding me? The mother is what did this, not the adopted mother.
Yeah, I wish she was able to get like a settlement or something from be able to sue them and get a settlement. I know money doesn't solve everything, but it could help her in life because that's not fair. What she went through could have been avoided, and that's the worst part about all of it is it could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a really good story. Thank you for sharing it with us, Nettie.
You're welcome. It was a tough one to do. I was kind of struggling with it, because sometimes when we do these stories, I I do want to share what's out there, but it just hits my heart, and I'm like, man, this is a pretty um crazy story. Should I do it? What is BB gonna say? Like, oh, I don't know. There's kind of a lot here. So
No,
that's why I was letting what I seen and researched, and you knew the story, so I thought that was great. But
I like. I mean, it's difficult, like you said, but I really like sharing their stories. Like, imagine, like, I don't know, the strength you can get just from hearing somebody's story like that is, to me, like, good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess in life, you have to go through really crappy stuff. Nobody has a perfect life. So you go through crappy stuff and you learn from that crappy stuff and you make life better, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing with these stories as, yeah, some of them are really crappy, but we learn and we get inspired by some of them. You know what I mean? So that's, I
Yeah,
think, why I like
honestly, we
them.
do. I have there's a friend of ours that we meet up with every now and then. He's he's a non-YouTuber, but he does watch YouTube, and
Mhm.
but he doesn't have content or anything. He just watches YouTube. And yeah, I was telling him how I get ready for Sundays. I'm doing research. If we can't go and explore or something, because I tell him I'm researching, and he's like, Nettie, yeah, I don't know how you can do these stories, because they just seem like they could just break you down, break your soul down. And I told him, honestly, I said, yeah, there's times that it does affect me, because I literally get into the story where I'm there when it's happening. I can visualize it. I
Mhm.
can feel it. But I told him, I said, with me and BB, we just truly feel that these are stories that need to bring awareness. We want to celebrate their lives, if for some reason they were tragically killed,
Mhm.
and I said, we want to bring out the awareness. And yes, it's hard to do, but it also, to me, it helps to heal. When somebody is going through this, or had a family member go through it, I truly believe it's for a reason and a purpose,
Yeah,
that we do these stories.
definitely. Thrifty Angela said, yeah, the authorities completely dropped the ball on this one. Yeah, they
Most
really did.
definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, we finished a little early this week, but we'll be back next Sunday with another one. And we appreciate y'all
Yep.
joining us.
And again, if you guys want, you could either drop it in the chat if you know anything on a story that you want us to cover, or leave it in the comment section, or email us. We would love any thoughts or ideas that you may want us to cover, and we'll
Yeah,
go from there.
definitely let us know if
And
you have some ideas.
run her playlist. Let's get her monetized.
Well, yeah, and run Nutties too, because she needs. All right. Well, wishing you all much kindness and much love.
And we're sending love your way. Good night.
Bye, everyone.